Today's Mass readings and Gospel reflection. November 24, 2021. Wednesday. Memorial of Saint Andrew Dung-Lac, priest, and companions, martyr. The Wednesday of the 34th week in Ordinary Time. We bless your name, O Lord, for sending your own incarnate Son to become part of a family, so that, as he lived its life, he would experience its worries and its joys. We ask you, Lord, to protect and watch over this family, so that in the strength of your grace its members may enjoy prosperity, possess the priceless gift of your peace, and, as the Church alive in the home, bear witness in this world to your glory. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. There are 117 martyrs in this group, and although they died at different times, they were all canonized by Pope John Paul II on June 19, 1988. Of the group, 96 were Vietnamese, 11 were Spaniards, and 10 were French. There were 8 bishops, 50 priests and 59 lay Catholics in the group. Of the priests, 11 were Dominicans, 10 belonged to the Paris Mission Society, and the rest were diocesan priests plus 1 seminarian. Certain individual martyrs were mentioned by name in the process of canonization: Andrew Dung-Lac, a diocesan priest; Thomas Tran Van Thien, a seminarian; Emmanuel Le Van Pung, father of a family; the Dominican bishops Jerome Hermosilla and Valentine Barrio Ochoa; and John Theophane Venard. Saint Andrew Dung-Lac's name was originally Dung and Tran, and he was born about 1795 into a poor and pagan family in Bac Ninh, North Vietnam. When he was 12, the family had to move to Hanoi, where his parents could find work. There he met a catechist and got food and shelter from him. He also got education in the Christian faith for 3 years, and was baptized in Vinh Tri with the Christian name Andrew Dung. After learning Chinese and Latin, he became a catechist, and thereafter taught catechism in the country. He was chosen to study theology, and on March 15, 1823 he was ordained a priest. As parish priest in Quidam he was tireless in his preaching. He often fasted and lived simple and moral life. He was a good example for the people, and many were baptized. In 1835 he was in prison under Emperor Minang's persecutions, but his freedom was purchased by donations from members of the congregation he served. To avoid persecutions, he changed his name to Andrew Lac and moved to another prefecture to continue his work. But on November 10, 1839 he was again arrested, this time with Peter Thi, another Vietnamese priest whom he was visiting so that he might go to confession. Once again Andrew was liberated, along with Peter Thi, in exchange for money. Their freedom was brief. They were soon rearrested and taken to Hanoi, where both suffered dreadful torture. Finally, they both were beheaded December 21, 1839. First reading. A reading from the book of the prophet Daniel. Daniel chapter 5 verse 1 to 6, 13 to 14, 16 to 17 and 23 to 28. King Belshazzar gave a great banquet for 1,000 of his lords, with whom he drank. Under the influence of the wine, he ordered the gold and silver vessels which Nebuchadnezzar, his father, had taken from the temple in Jerusalem, to be brought in so that the king, his lords, his wives and his entertainers might drink from them. When the gold and silver vessels taken from the house of God in Jerusalem had been brought in, and while the king, his lords, his wives and his entertainers were drinking wine from them, they praised their gods of gold and silver, bronze and iron, wood and stone. Suddenly, opposite the lampstand, the fingers of a human hand appeared, writing on the plaster of the wall in the king's palace. When the king saw the wrist and hand that wrote, his face blanked. His thoughts terrified him, his hip joints shook, and his knees knocked. Then Daniel was brought into the presence of the king. The king asked him, "Are you the Daniel, the Jewish exile, whom my father, the king, brought from Judah? I have heard that the Spirit of God is in you, that you possess brilliant knowledge and extraordinary wisdom. I have heard that you can interpret dreams and solve difficulties. If you are able to read the writing and tell me what it means, you shall be clothed in purple, wear a gold collar about your neck, and be third in the government of the kingdom." Daniel answered the king, "You may keep your gifts, or give your presents to someone else. But the writing I will read for you, O king, and tell you what it means. You have rebelled against the Lord of heaven. You had the vessels of his temple brought before you, so that you and your nobles, your wives and your entertainers, might drink wine from them. And you praised the gods of silver and gold, bronze and iron, wood and stone, that neither see nor hear nor have intelligence. But the God in whose hand is your life breath and the whole course of your life, you did not glorify. By him were the wrist and hand set, and the writing set down. This is the writing that was inscribed. Mean, Tekel, and Perez. These words mean, Mene, God has numbered your kingdom and put an end to it. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Perez, your kingdom has been divided and given to the Medes and Persians. The word of the Lord. Responsorial Psalm. Daniel chapter 3 verse 62, 63, 64, 65, 66 and 67. Let our response be, give glory and eternal praise to him. Sun and moon, bless the Lord. Praise and exalt him above all forever. Response. Give glory and eternal praise to him. Stars of heaven, bless the Lord. Praise and exalt him above all forever. Response. Give glory and eternal praise to him. Every shower and dew, bless the Lord. Praise and exalt him above all forever. Response. Give glory and eternal praise to him. All you winds, bless the Lord. Praise and exalt him above all forever. Response. Give glory and eternal praise to him. Fire and heat, bless the Lord. Praise and exalt him above all forever. Response. Give glory and eternal praise to him. Cold and chill, bless the Lord. Praise and exalt him above all forever. Response. Give glory and eternal praise to him. Alleluia. Revelations chapter 2 verse 10c. Alleluia, alleluia. Remain faithful until death, and I will give you the crown of life. Alleluia, alleluia. Mighty God. Gospel reading. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Luke chapter 21 verse 12 to 19. Jesus said to the crowd, "They will seize and persecute you. They will hand you over to the synagogues and to prisons. And they will have you led before kings and governors because of my name. It will lead to your giving testimony. Remember, you are not to prepare your defense beforehand. For I myself shall give you a wisdom in speaking that all your adversaries will be powerless to resist or refute. You will even be handed over by parents, brothers, relatives, and friends. And they will put some of you to death. You will be hated by all because of my name. But not a hair on your head will be destroyed. By your perseverance you will secure your lives." The Gospel of the Lord. Before we proceed with the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Also, please hit the notification bell, so you won't miss out when we release new videos. Feel free to share your comments, suggestions, and reflections at the comments section down below. Thank you and God bless. Now, let's proceed with the video. The reflection on today's Gospel. In today's Gospel, which is a continuation of the discourse begun yesterday, Jesus lists different signs to help the communities place themselves in these events and not lose faith in God, as well as the courage to persevere against the attacks of the Roman Empire. We will repeat the first 5 signs mentioned in yesterday's Gospel. First sign, the false messiahs. Second sign, war and revolutions. Third sign, nations which fight against other nations. A kingdom against another kingdom. Fourth sign, earthquakes in different places. Fifth sign, hunger, plagues and signs in the sky. Yesterday's Gospel ends here. Now, in today's Gospel another sign is added. Sixth sign, the persecution of Christians. The sixth sign is the persecution. At various times, in the few years which he lived among us, Jesus warned the disciples that they would be persecuted. Here, in the last discourse, he repeats the same warning and makes them know that the persecution has to be taken into consideration in discerning the signs of the times. You will be seized and persecuted. You will be handed over to the synagogues and to imprisonment, and brought before kings and governors, for the sake of my name. Of these apparently very negative warnings, Jesus had said, "Do not be terrified, for this is something that must happen first, but the end will not come at once." And the Gospel of Mark adds that all these signs have only begun. This is the beginning of the birth pangs. Birth pangs, though being very painful for the mother, are not a sign of death, but rather of life. They are not a reason for fear, but rather to hope. This way of reading the events brings peace to the persecuted communities. Reading or hearing these signs, prophesied by Jesus in the year 33, the readers of Luke of the years 80 could conclude that all these things are taking place according to the plan foreseen and announced by Jesus. Therefore, history has not escaped from God's hand. God is with us. The mission of the Christians during the time of persecution. Persecution is not something fatal or reason for discouragement or despair. It should be considered a possibility offered by God and a way that the communities may carry out the mission of witnessing to the good news of God. God says, "That will be your opportunity to bear witness. Make up your minds not to prepare your defense, because I myself shall give you a mouth and wisdom that none of your opponents will be able to resist or contradict." Through this affirmation, Jesus encourages the persecuted Christians who lived in anguish. He makes them know that even if they are persecuted, they have a mission to carry out, to give witness of the good news of God and thus be a sign of the kingdom. A courageous witness would lead the people to repeat what the magicians in Egypt said before the signs and to have courage like Moses and Aaron. The finger of God is here. Conclusion: the community should not be worried. If everything is in God's hands, if everything was already foreseen, if everything is nothing more than birth pangs, then there is no reason to worry. You will be betrayed even by parents and brothers, relatives and friends, and some of you will be put to death. You will be hated universally on account of my name. Persecution does not only come from outside, from the empire, but also from inside, from one's own family. In the same family, some accepted the good news, others did not. The announcement of the good news caused divisions within families. There were even some people who denounced and killed their own relatives who declared themselves followers of Jesus, using the old law. But not a hair of your head will be lost. Your perseverance will gain your lives. This final observation of Jesus recalls the other word which Jesus had said, "But not a hair of your head will be lost." This comparison was a strong call not to lose faith and to continue righteously in the community. And this also confirms what Jesus had said on another occasion: "Anyone who wants to save his life will lose it. But anyone who will lose his life for my sake will save it." How do you usually read the stages of the history of your life or of your country? Looking at the history of humanity of the last years, has hope increased or diminished in you? Yahweh has made known his saving power, revealed his saving justice for the nations to see. mindful of his faithful love and his constancy to the house of Israel.